Welcome to About the Albums. Today we're talking about the album On the Hill. And this is one where it actually came out, I don't know when I actually ended up uploading it, but it came out originally recorded in 2009. And it was kind of this thing I was doing as, I wanted to try singing and, songs for stuff that I wrote. It's on my old keyboard, the one I said in the other video. I want to say that it was a CTK 486 or 496, whatever. We already saw it. I already brought it up, but a lot of it was using the backing stuff on there and just playing some riffs over that. So most of the songs are here's the parts where I'm singing and just kind of putting those backing things on it. And then parts where, I'm actually playing and not singing at all because I'm playing parts over the backing stuff. So it was kind of a mix of those two things. I don't know. It was, actually, I made a special version of this, a one-of-a-kind version of it, because I had a crush at the time. And I was like, I'll do that. It'll be like a special thing that only they have. And so I recorded that. And this one was recorded on a 60-minute tape, I believe. And then I had a 120-minute tape that I did that version on, which had the one side of all that stuff that's here. And then the other side was all unique stuff that even I don't have a copy of. And I'm sure that tape has since been lost or destroyed. Or both. So, I don't even remember most stuff on there. If I heard it again, I don't know that I would even remember at this point. But originally when I recorded this, I didn't really even like the album that much. I remember listening back to it, and you can even tell when I'm singing it that I still kind of feel very self-conscious about singing. And for a long time, I just didn't listen to it, just didn't want to do anything for it. And it was a few years before I really started to try something again with me singing. And listening back to it, though, was kind of what made me want to come back to singing and doing the music thing again, where I was singing on it as well, because, I don't know, it kind of grew on me a little bit. So I think that's probably good for the Oh, and I think it was originally called Presence, because it was like, oh, hey, it's like I'm I like that you're there, but it's also a present, that kind of thing. And I think Led Zeppelin had one called Presence or something, an album like that. And I was like, I don't know if I want to have it. I want to be related to that. I don't want to be I'm stealing names of things. And so I changed the name to On the Hill, based on the song On the Hill that's on it. So it's a whole lot of something, and we're about to jump right into a whole lot of what that is. Oh, my shirt's a little weird. There, I fixed it at the end of the shot. That's good. Hopefully the lighting and audio is going to be okay. We're still playing around with that. So that's always a good fun tidbit to hear about every time, is that, hey, on this show we don't really know how to do it yet. But I know that I want the keyboard in the shot. The microphone is here. It's down there. So hopefully the volume was okay there. It's on a thing, rather than having it up here where I'm not really facing it. And it's not, a big intrusion of me holding it in front of myself. We'll see what happens and how we like it. Not Gonna Happen is maybe not the best track to be leading off an album like this, with my intent anyways. Seems to be more based on just this idea of not having a chance with anyone despite being very open to the concept of it. That's probably makes sense for a high school Sam. What was I? Probably a junior that year or something. Yeah, I think it was in my junior year, earlier in that. Pre-Christmas. It was a Christmas gift. So, yeah. Yes. And, I don't know, it's long, like a lot of the songs on here. It's long. But it was one where I still kind of like, like kind of it hops and it's got like some good like solos and riffs. Like the tones are neat. Remastering it is also very difficult because remastering stuff from tapes, as I may have mentioned before, there's a lot of background air noise on tapes, and you can only get rid of so much of it. If you try to get rid of too much, it's not going to sound anything like it originally did. You're going to have barely any sound at all because it's largely being drowned out by that. But at least it's helped boost some of the bass of it and get rid of some of the excess air noise on top of stuff. So it sounds about as good as I can hope for, transferring something that was originally recorded onto a tape that was then recorded to get the audio file via recording, using my camera to record a tape player playing it, and then running that through Audacity. I've done all I can do, and I think it still kind of fits in with the general style I've had for a long time of just being kind of a sad, depressing type of song. So it kind of fits right in. Party Boat is pretty self-explanatory. The idea is that a bunch of people get on a boat and they have a party. There's people partying on the boat from shore to shore, and some people get on, some people get off, but thing is, the boat's gonna go and it's gonna go, and if the party leaves without you, you're just not gonna be part of that party, so you don't want to miss your boat or whatever. It's a silly concept, just a fun, hoppy song. And, it's just kind of like, thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do, because, I don't know, I guess part of me still likes fun, so I did that. I don't know, it's kind of goofy, and it's, a little reminiscent of, shit, I should have looked this up beforehand, well, there's like a Talking Heads song that's, about making this baby stay up late. It's like making this baby like stay up with them. I don't know like why. It's such a goofy song, and the way this sounds is a little bit like that. Not nearly as goofy, but it just kind of reminded me a bit of that. And I don't know if I had heard that before doing this or not, but I would imagine I did, because it reminds me of that. At least by now it does. So that's similar to an interesting tidbit about this. Also, I have tilted the microphone up a bit in the hopes that it will capture my voice better and my shirt less, because, well, that's just never going to get out of there. This is going to be all crinkly. I can't wash it until I'm done with all these, because I was hearing a lot of the shirt. So hopefully this helps a little bit, but we'll see. One More Day is just kind of a song about, I wish my shirt would be fixed. It's just rankly because I let it sit out. It's about basically just like the concept of like, oh yeah, like I'll be there and I'll be with you. You just need to wait another day. And I'm on my way there. I can't be there right away, so you have to wait for me. Pretty simple idea. I thought it was kind of a basic concept of a song thing. There wasn't a whole lot to it really other than that. And I think the way it progressed actually came out kind of well as far as lyrically, even though they aren't the best lyrics necessarily or the best, use of words to fit the spaces. And my singing wasn't great. It's still not, but it wasn't great. I think it did a pretty good job of moving with that, and it's got some neat little, the bits between where I'm actually playing the stuff. It's not just backing things going. I think those came out pretty well too. So I don't know. I still kind of like it. But that's, maybe that's just me. It's probably just me. That's one more day. That's one more song in the bank. Known as the I Have Too Many Songs bank. I Want to Run Away is really just based on that line, because when I was playing around with this, that was the thing that kind of popped into my head, and it's the only line in the song, so it was pretty easy to just go with this and not have to, write out lyrics or anything. I just kind of, knew when I was going to sing that based on when I was playing that riff. I'm still using backing stuff, but it was a lot more about me trying to play more on this, again, admittedly with backing stuff there, but the one guitar tone is just me playing around and doing that. And I don't know, it's nice to have one that is a little more about the music on it too, rather than me trying to show off any singing or lyrical skills, because I don't, especially at this point, I didn't really have them. And I definitely needed to find a lot more of my voice and my confidence in it, my style. I needed to feel a lot of that out, and so it was nice to kind of just more focus on the music thing that I actually had been still, playing around with ever since I started playing my own music. And sure, it's maybe a little long, but it's kind of neat, and it reminds me of some of the older stuff I did. It definitely feels more like a transition trying to get into this without going too heavy into territory I'm still practicing at, not good at, still trying to find my footing with. So in some ways that's good, in some ways that's bad. Probably makes for a better quality song here, but it probably wasn't the best for practice. You can look at it either way. None of it is too bad, didn't mess up too many times in it, and generally, since with a tape especially, you only get, if you want to do another take, you gotta rewind to that point, play up until just before where you need to start the track, then stop and hit record again, and it can be a pain to get it down just right. But I think that also doing stuff like this influenced a lot of how I've been recording music too. Is a lot of it is just get everything ready, try to make it sound good in the one go, and then have it all just be basically everything I recorded. It's essentially one track. Once it's all said and done, I don't have a bunch of separate tracks all put together. It's all the tracks are put together on this keyboard for most songs, and then it's play that and sing over it. And then it's maybe do an extra thing of vocals or something. It's slowly evolved to having a little bit more, and maybe in the future it's going to evolve to having even more stuff, and we'll see with some new programs and equipment that I have. Maybe something cool will happen, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're way early in the process of talking about these albums. So what about the next song? Dreams of You is just an instrumental piece, and it's not really that impressive of one. I mean, it sounds nice, it sounds pretty, and obviously the inspiration is just, that you were having, sweet dreams of someone, right? But, right. But, while I had some idea of where I wanted the notes to go kind of in there, I don't know how obvious it is, but I am just kind of going around hitting notes and trying to keep somewhat of a beat and just kind of moving them around. And so that's why not all of them feel like they work or flow well. Nothing about it is really all that intelligently done. It's just kind of flowing and seeing what it turns into, and it turned into that. So there's not a whole lot to it. But it turned out probably better than the amount of effort I put into it. So I guess that can be seen as a good thing. In one way. I'll take it.
Nobody cares. What if nobody cares? Nobody cares.
Nobody Cared is something I think is maybe a bit more typical what you might expect from me. Um, Given my past and what I usually do for song stuff, kind of depressing thing where it's kind of about just um, living in a place where no one cares. That like like the story kind of explains you're like trying to get people to like listen to you. Nobody's like even really responding to you at all. And then like you almost like a Twilight Zone episode. Like nobody's like paying any attention to you. Like you're not even there almost. And then like you end up like choking on like some food and no one like does like CPR, tries to help you or whatever, or the Heimlich or whatever. Nothing to help you, and you die. Uh, just thought that was and I guess maybe that is partly in my head somewhere like a Twilight Zone because I've seen Twilight Zone episodes, uh, but it's yeah also just kind of like this starting this like kind of more depressing, sad outlook on the world and people, and playing with that idea in a more fictional sense. Um, Also, this one I just liked the instrument, like whatever the backtrack, whatever that was the preset on the keyboard. That's the best word for it, the preset. And I really liked the way it sounded like a lot, and so that's why I didn't really play much over until like the very end. So I think the progression of the lyrics works pretty well here, and didn't rely too much on me playing. So it doesn't show off my musical skills, it more shows off my lyrical skills. Not that they're great, but at least it was like exercising those. So it's kind of neat for doing that. This whole thing was kind of a get out of my comfort zone learning experience for a lot of these things. So I guess I should maybe not be too hard on those things and focus on where I did okay, all things considered. Though it is kind of hard to hear because I think for a lot of it I had a microphone plugged into. There's like a thing you could plug into that keyboard to plug a mic in, so then it would go through the same speaker as the music, and it just made it kind of sound like crap. And maybe it would have sounded better if I just tried to sing into the tape recorder without that, maybe. But who can say for sure? I can't because I don't remember, and you can't because you never knew. So, unlike the mystery of the Tootsie Pop, the world just can't know. They can't. It's not that they'll never know. It's like they can't. There's no way to even test it now, ever, at all. So I win. I know On the Hill really only became the title track because I changed the title later. But it was because I liked it so much. And it's still a catchy little song. Well, maybe not a little song. It's pretty long for what it is. And most of the idea is just like the simple concept of like just sitting on a hill, uh, with someone you are in love with. Whatever. I'm bad at emotions. You're watching the sky on a nice blue sky with clouds in it. You got clouds going by. It's a simple concept. You just do that forever, right? Um, I don't know. I thought this was kind of neat, and there you have it. And the thing at the beginning and the end is you hear with like the hitting the chord things to make the basically if you don't have any beat going, you just hit those. You can make the different like sounds like the chords and have an idea of what's gonna play, sort of. And then I was doing those, and in between them, I was hitting the microphone with a pencil that I used to write down the lyrics, or whatever. I was hitting the microphone in between there because I thought it sounded kind of neat, and that's what that sound is. So that's On the Hill, and I'm over it. That is comedy. That is solid C comedy. And I'm talking about the letter, not like the geographical thing, because then it would have been like, I don't know, I would tell a pirate joke, I guess, if that was the case. And I didn't. So that's how you know it's not. After the Rain is perhaps the most impressive song on the album. Like lyrically and musically. Like musically, you can hear that I just used a drum preset for that one. I had some riffs and stuff planned though. I had like the progression going, and it had some neat like little solo, like the middle bit there. When it gets into like all like the solo-y stuff, that's cool. I like that with that organ. I don't know. It still sounds really nice. Even on like with the tape quality, it works really well with that too. With how strong that tone is. And like lyrically, it's not necessarily amazing or anything, but you know, it's doing something interesting where it's taking the idea of like rain and I'm kind of applying these ideas of like, you know, things happening after the rain if it didn't rain anymore. Some of these are more like physical properties, like if you would cry, you would be able to tell if it wasn't like, because it's after the rain, is like, is it tears or is it just still rain on your face? And other ideas are just like, I don't know, and kind of like this idea of like, you know, I had like some evidence, I had something like I wanted to like say or whatever, but the rain washed away what I was gonna say. Something that could be seen as physical too, so it kind of plays the, you know, mostly physical, I guess. It kind of plays a little bit between the two. And like the idea of like maybe not just necessarily literal like rain thing the whole time either. So it's interesting. Is mostly what I'm getting at. It's interesting. Um, that's after the rain. Still long, but I think it is to me it's maybe the most impressive one on here. But we got one more, so we'll see if you can agree after it. Without the Life basically was about this thing of me being very open and honest about the way that I feel, and essentially was kind of like a call to action of sorts, where I was like, I would like you to also say how you feel, so I would know, because of the idea of like, if for not saying it, you're gonna like regret it later if there's something to be said and whatnot, and I don't know, and it's kind of sad to do it that way, but that's the way I chose to do things, and I don't know. The song is a bit long. It's got a cool like middle part with the instruments. Again, it's another one where it's just a drum track and then it's me playing stuff. And a neat intro bit too. I had kind of a habit of doing these weird like intro bits in songs. I used to do this a lot more when I was just doing instrumental stuff. A lot of times I'd have an intro, like a little riff or something, and a lot of times it wouldn't come back. Like in After the Rain, it came back at the end, which I liked that it went on the beginning and the end. But here it just kind of was a thing in the beginning, and then it didn't really tie into anything later. It was just like that's the intro little thingy. Here's a splash of flavor before the song. And so I don't know. It went okay, but nothing in this album is great. Nothing in this is really like among my favorites. It's just that this album in general was just was nice. It was probably important for me to do. It was important for me to come back to, get comfortable with, and decide to move forward from there. And that's On the Hill, an old project I had that I thought was worth keeping around. And next time we'll get into when I finally actually came back to making more music. Once I was done being totally ashamed of what I had done here. And hopefully, you know, the lighting has been okay, the audio's been okay for the About the Albums thing, and I've decided I don't even care. My shirt is just gonna do this. It's just gonna be a wrinkly piece of shit mess fuck, and that's okay because who gives a shit? It's not about the shirt. It's about the albums, After all. And thanks for watching. The cover art for On the Hill here um, isn't from the tape, because the tape wasn't called On the Hill at the time either, so I think I had used something else for like the artwork at some point maybe, but I decided to just make new artwork for it here. And so here it's just, you've got the idea of like a vague representation of the hill, very simplistic. Wrote On the Hill. I think it's in Times New Roman. I've got On the Hill and I've got my name on it. And then I did some line stuff for basically the thin black lines are to be, this is done in MS Paint, by the way. The thin black lines are supposed to be like the outlines or whatever, like the lines you'd have on like the back of a tape for like writing tracks and whatnot. Where I usually drew the album art, and then I just put these other like lines and stuff in between them that weren't touching other things, so that there was kind of like spaces, so everything kind of has its own respectful spots. And I kind of left like some gaps around the words like that, so it would be almost like clouds in the sky. So it's very simplistic, and it's a little haphazard, but it's it's interesting, and I kind of like it. I think it is an interesting representation, while also it almost giving you just kind of an interesting feel with the gaps in it and the various the rectangles and the what have you. And there you have the what have you of On the Hill.